Okay, so let's jump right into the source material for this deep dive. We're looking at the AI stress test for South African journalism.
Hmm.
And it paints a pretty stark picture of the challenges facing South Africa's legacy media.
It really does. The core issue is, well, it's a huge conflict, really. You have these traditional news outlets that are, frankly, facing financial ruin.
Right.
And it's being driven by two things: an audience that's getting older and, just aging out, and this sort of internal problem of editorial gatekeeping.
So the question isn't even if they'll survive anymore.
No, it's who is going to be left to tell the really critical stories about the country's future.
And the most urgent signal of this is just the shift in how people consume news. You see it yourself. Young South Africans are on TikTok, they're on YouTube, on Instagram, WhatsApp channels. They're not just automatically going to News 24 or Business Day because, their parents did. That loyalty is gone.
And this is where the economic paradox really, really bites. I mean, for generations, you had these huge titles that dominated everything because they owned the infrastructure.
The printing presses, the distribution networks.
Exactly. They controlled how information got out. But now, that's all changed.
The flip happens so fast. I mean, the cost to publish something online is almost nothing compared to running a fleet of trucks.
Right.
But keeping those massive old-school newsrooms going, that's what's drowning them. And they didn't just lose the audience's attention.
They lost the money. The global platforms, the Googles and Facebooks, they just scooped up all the digital ad spend.
While the local outlets just watched.
Precisely. So a brand might still reach millions of people, but that audience is fragmented, it's fickle, and, well, it's often not paying.
So the authority of the editor-in-chief is now directly competing with a YouTuber.
Or a podcaster. Someone operating, as the source says, from a spare bedroom. It's a whole new ballgame.
Which brings us to the internal problem. This is maybe even more telling than the tech challenges.
Yeah, the source is really clear on this. It argues that the leadership culture, these old hierarchies, these big egos, is actually accelerating the decline.
Well, how does that actually show up?
Well, you see senior editors talking down to critics online. You see them getting really defensive about press council rulings.
Treating independent writers like they're just irritants.
Exactly. But hold on, isn't that just a symptom of panic? I mean, their entire business model is collapsing.
It could be. But the end result is a total collapse of trust. When these big outlets act like they're the only custodians of truth and just dismiss any and all criticism.
They undermine their whole reason for being.
Yeah, they just speed up their own decline. Because trust isn't something you inherit with the company name.
It has to be earned every single day.
Okay, so let's bring AI into the mix, because it's presented as both a massive threat and maybe an opportunity.
The threat part is pretty obvious. AI can just flood the internet with cheap, synthetic content. It can summarize reports, churn out basic articles.
So if you're a publisher just using AI to make more of the same stuff, you're just adding to the noise.
You're just becoming irrelevant faster. But the opportunity is that AI is really a stress test. It's a test for management courage.
What do you mean by that?
It forces newsrooms to ask, what is our unique value? What can we do that an algorithm can't?
And what does that look like in practice?
It looks like deep, long-form investigations that require real verification. Stuff AI can't easily fact-check. It's on-the-ground reporting from remote areas that provides nuance you can't get from a desk.
So for the smaller, independent players,
credibility is everything. That becomes their currency, a mix of authenticity and real journalistic discipline.
So for the big brands to survive, their role has to change. They have to go from being gatekeepers to, what, anchors?
Anchors in a much wider, much more chaotic conversation.
Yeah.
And that means less lecturing and a lot more listening.
Especially listening to criticism about their own biases and blind spots.
Absolutely. When you connect all the dots, this crisis isn't really about technology. It's about humility. It's about leadership.
Younger audiences are just. They're voting with their thumbs. They're going to the voices that feel responsive and relevant to them.
The era of the media empire is just over.
It's over.
The goal shouldn't be to protect these old institutions that wouldn't change. The real goal has to be ensuring that trustworthy, diverse journalism can survive and thrive, whatever that looks like.
Whether it's on a homepage or WhatsApp channel.
Exactly. So the question to leave you with is this. When the next big story breaks, which voice will you actually trust? And who's paying for that voice to exist?